Welcome to the first episode of Back to Sanity. Where can I start? Should we start in 2016? The fact of the matter is, we have 40% of the population of this country that is operating without reason, logic, and without any analytical or any sort of ability to consume information, but then test it on their own. You know, there are a lot of theories going around about this MAGA mania, but the fact of the matter is, it's based on a mass hysteria. We have 40% of the people who have not been involved in the political process now are tuning in because they heard a voice in the wilderness. But unfortunately, that voice was self-serving in 2016. But it was their chance to jump onto something and grab onto it and claim it to be their own, as they felt left out of the daily conversations about government. The problem is you have a media that's set up, and I'll say Fox News, that reports things that to an ordinary person of reasonable sensibilities are absolutely insane. And we have seen over the last 4 or 5 years a total brainwashing of a substantial part of the country. I mean, when you can, to this late date, have candidates who lose still claiming the 2020 election was fixed or rigged, when there's no evidence, every court has said there's no evidence. I mean, it's beyond belief. Yet they still wave that flag. Oh, it was fixed. It must have been fixed. Well, show me the evidence. They try to say it was the voting machines. Well, a little update on that litigation. Dominion Voting, the Dominion Voting Machine Company, is in the middle of suing Fox News and the network for billions of dollars. And let me tell you, because I know you're not going to hear it on Fox, Sean Hannity, Trump's backdoor man. Sean Hannity has taken his deposition already, or he's had his deposition taken under oath. And you could just go and read the news. It's a document. It's under seal with the court. But lawyers in a hearing have represented what exactly it says to a federal judge. And when asked if Sean Hannity himself had ever considered the rigged voting argument by Trump to have any substance, Sean Hannity under oath said no, never, not for a second. Now, this is the guy who's leading the charge, and this rigged voting thing that's been rejected out of hand. Here he is, finally, when push comes to shove, under oath, if you perjure yourself while you're under oath, you're under penalty of law. He's asked a direct question. Did you ever, you're pushing this theory. Did you ever believe it? Here's his answer on the record, under oath. No, not for a second. And the same with the other charlatan, Tucker Carlson, who knows better. And he tried to play both sides, and they pinned him down too. He did not believe it. You will see the depositions. But here's the problem is you could show these depositions to any of the MAGA crowd, and they will still deny that those things were said. Or they will say, well, they had to lie to protect the network. Well, I mean, that's a perjury. So either they pushed a theory they knew to be untrue, or they lied under oath about them doing exactly that. So they're paid liars. So they're lying to protect their own interests, their own job. So, it's going to be exposed. The depositions are going to be released. Uh, Go back a couple of weeks and just do a Google search. You'll see it. I mean, no one's going to misrepresent to a judge in a hearing what was said in the deposition. And the judge has the deposition, looking at it. This is what, I mean, it's like in The Wizard of Oz, they pulled the curtain and saw, there's Sean Hannity standing behind the Fox machine. You pull the curtain, there he is. He's doing Trump's bidding. But when it came down to it, he absolutely called Trump, that theory was a fraud. So look at some of the things he did do that they won't listen to. When you have distinguished generals like Milley talking about Trump wanting to launch a nuclear strike against North Korea and then trying to blame it on somebody else. These are absolute facts by many of his senior staff. This is going to be a matter for history. They had to stop him, and the way they had to stop him was to convince him that he would be remembered as a great leader instead of killing millions of people, which he never even occurred to him. He was making a political calculation. He would be better remembered if he had a peace between the two. And you remember he called him Rocket Man. And, that's when he was at this mindset he was going to send the nuclear warhead. And then later on, he took the peace initiative, and there's all sorts of things. His companies were involved in Korean finance companies that had ties in North Korea. There's a whole other world that the general public does not get exposed to. And that's both sides. Both sides are guilty of this, the private deals. But I mean, to continue this fallacy of the voter fraud theme when there's just absolutely no evidence, and even by the sworn testimony of the main network that pushed this theory, that they did not believe it for a minute, over 60 court decisions, and they're going to believe that Dominion rigged their voting machines because the guy who sells the pillows, who's on Fox News every 10 seconds, went and got proof of that. Well, it was so bad in the end, Trump wouldn't even let him into the White House. Made him sit downstairs. We're going to take calls in a minute. But going into 2024, more is going to be revealed here about the inner workings that happen on Capitol Hill. You have to really get beyond all the media to find out what's going on. You need to talk to people that work on Capitol Hill, that work in congressmen's offices, that you need to develop those kind of contacts to understand how this city works. And that city governs the whole world. And the other thing that bothers me, and then we'll go to a pause, is that our democracy, and that portion of MAGA voters, have been taught to love right-wing dictators. The treacherous man in Turkey, Putin, the absolute horrific murderer down in Brazil. And all of a sudden, that's chic with the right wing. They admire totalitarianism. I mean, wake me up. Did I miss something here? And here, Trump wants to now change the Constitution. Now, let alone it's horrifying to say that when all of the people, just go to Arlington and all the war cemeteries that gave their lives for the rights we enjoy. And the Tea Party and the Trump people who ran around with books about the Constitution. That was their thing. Look, it says in the Constitution this. It says, okay, we know what it says. What's your point? But now these very people who made the Constitution the foundation of the MAGA platform, when you tell them to Trump, and you could play it on the thing, look at any media, it says he wants to change the Constitution. They say, well, he doesn't really, he's just saying that. I mean, it's really, really frightening because they're actually operating outside the bounds of reason and rationale and just basic truth. So on the second episode, we're going to get into a specific example, and I'll be relying on a source that I have in Washington, D.C., and some other interesting sources that will be revealed. Have a good day. Thanks.